The Wilson family had always dreamed of a fresh start. After years of cramped city living and the daily hustle and bustle, they longed for a peaceful life in the countryside. That dream led them to Hollow House, a grand old mansion that stood on a hill overlooking acres of lush, untouched land. As they pulled up the winding driveway, the family's excitement mixed with a hint of trepidation. The house, although grand, had an air of melancholy about it. Ivy-clad walls seemed to whisper secrets of the past, and the towering oak trees in the yard cast long, ominous shadows. John, the father, carried boxes of belongings into the house, while Sarah, his wife, and their two children, Emily and Ethan, explored the grand foyer. Dusty chandeliers hung from the high ceiling, and faded wallpaper peeled at the edges. A feeling of unease settled in the pit of Sarah's stomach. "Are you sure about this, John?" Sarah asked as she ran her fingers over an ornate but tarnished mirror. John wiped sweat from his brow and smiled. "It's a fixer-upper, but it's a steal. We can make it a wonderful home for us and the kids. Plus, it's got history, and that's something special." As the day turned to evening, the Wilsons settled into their new home. They sat around the dining table, enjoying their first meal in Hollow House. That's when they heard it, a faint, distant sound, like whispers carried on a cold breeze. Ethan looked up, his eyes wide. "Did you guys hear that?" The rest of the family fell silent, straining their ears to listen. The whispers grew louder, a chorus of eerie voices that seemed to come from all directions. John tried to dismiss it as old house creaks, but Sarah couldn't ignore the sense of foreboding that had settled over her. She glanced at the antique mirror, catching a glimpse of a pale face in the glass, a face that wasn't hers. That night, as the Wilsons settled into their bedrooms, the whispers persisted. Each family member lay awake, listening to the unsettling voices that seemed to echo through the house's endless corridors. Emily, the youngest of the siblings, couldn't take it any longer. She crept out of her room, her teddy bear clutched tightly to her chest, and made her way down the dimly lit hallway. The voices grew louder, guiding her toward the heart of the mansion. In the main hall, Emily was startled to find her family already gathered, drawn by the same eerie whispers. They huddled together, their faces pale in the flickering candlelight. "What is happening, Mom?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. Sarah tried to remain composed but couldn't hide her unease. "I don't know, sweetheart. It's as if the very walls of this house are talking to us." The voices intensified, forming words that sent shivers down their spines. "Leave. Leave. Leave." John's determination wavered as fear crept into his heart. "Maybe we made a mistake coming here." Just then, a chilling gust of wind swept through the hall, extinguishing the candles. The room plunged into darkness, and the voices grew more frantic. Panicked, they fumbled for their flashlights and rushed to the front door, but it refused to budge. It was as if an unseen force held it shut. Desperation mounted as they continued to hear the sinister whispers closing in around them. Ethan cried out, "We need to find out what's happening in this house." Sarah, clutching Emily, nodded in agreement. "We can't run from this. We have to uncover the truth." With flashlights in hand, the Wilsons began their exploration of Hollow House, determined to unravel the mystery behind the paranormal forces that had taken hold of their new home. The Wilsons' investigation into the haunting of Hollow House led them deeper into the dark, mysterious history of their new home. Armed with flashlights and a sense of dread, they combed through dusty old books, letters, and journals left behind in the attic. As they read the tattered pages, a grim story began to emerge. The mansion had once belonged to the Holloway family, who had lived there for generations. The Holloways had been known for their eccentricities, dabbling in the occult and conducting strange rituals in the house. Sarah shivered as she read aloud from a diary entry, "The veil between worlds is thin here. We seek answers from the spirits that dwell within these walls." The more they uncovered, the more they realized that the mansion had been a focal point for supernatural activity for centuries. There were accounts of bizarre occurrences, disappearances, and even tragic deaths within the family. One name kept reappearing in the old documents: Isabella Holloway, a woman rumored to have been both a seer and a recluse. Her image, captured in a faded portrait, bore an eerie resemblance to the face Sarah had seen in the antique mirror. Determined to learn more, the Wilsons decided to consult the only living relative of the Holloway family, an elderly woman named Abigail Holloway, who lived in a nearby town. Abigail's voice quivered as she recounted the family's dark history, confirming the existence of supernatural forces that had plagued the Holloways for generations. They tried to communicate with the other side, she whispered, but sometimes, the other side answered back. With Abigail's guidance, the Wilsons learned about a ritual chamber hidden deep within the mansion, a place where the Holloways had attempted to make contact with the spirit world. It was a place of immense power, and it held the key to understanding the house's haunting. Armed with this newfound knowledge, the family returned to Hollow House, determined to confront the malevolent spirits that had plagued them. But little did they know that the darkest secrets of the house had yet to be revealed, and the supernatural forces within were far from done with them. The Wilsons, armed with knowledge about the sinister history of Hollow House, embarked on their mission to confront the supernatural forces that plagued their home. With Abigail Holloway's guidance, they found the entrance to the hidden ritual chamber deep within the mansion's labyrinthine corridors. The chamber was a chilling sight, adorned with cryptic symbols etched into the walls and an eerie aura that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. In the center of the room lay an ancient, ornate mirror, identical to the one Sarah had seen in the main hall. As they entered the chamber, a sudden drop in temperature sent shivers down their spines. The mirror's surface began to ripple, revealing ghostly images of the Holloway family engaged in mysterious rituals. Isabella Holloway, the seer, appeared to be communicating with shadowy figures from the other side. The whispers grew louder, echoing through the chamber. "We've been waiting for so long." Emily clutched her teddy bear, her eyes wide with fear. "Mom, I'm scared." John, determined to end the haunting, stepped closer to the mirror and addressed the spirits. "We're here to understand and to help. Please, tell us what you want." The room seemed to tremble as the spirits' voices became more distinct. "Release us from this eternal torment, the mirror binds us." Sarah, her heart heavy with empathy, turned to Abigail Holloway for guidance. "How do we break this curse?" Abigail, her voice filled with sorrow, explained that the only way to release the spirits was to complete the ritual that had gone awry centuries ago. It involved finding 4 elemental artifacts scattered throughout the house and returning them to the chamber. The Wilsons accepted their daunting task. Armed with a newfound purpose, they ventured deeper into Hollow House, searching for the elemental artifacts that would free the trapped spirits. Each artifact was guarded by malevolent entities that tested their resolve and bravery. With their determination and newfound knowledge, the Wilsons continued their search for the elemental artifacts hidden within Hollow House. Each quest brought them face to face with the malevolent entities guarding these precious items, and their courage was tested in ways they could scarcely imagine. Artifact 1, the Earth Amulet. The Wilsons ventured into the mansion's overgrown garden, where they encountered spectral hands that clawed at the ground. After a harrowing battle, they unearthed the Earth Amulet, a relic imbued with the power of nature. Artifact 2, the Water Chalice. Following a trail of ghostly footprints, they delved into the heart of the house, discovering a hidden underground chamber filled with rising water. Here, they faced vengeful spirits seeking to drown them. Emily, clutching the water chalice, used it to quell the watery threat. Artifact 3, the Fire Talisman. Their search led them to the mansion's disused, darkened kitchen. Flames danced menacingly, and a fiery apparition guarded the Fire Talisman. It took John's unyielding determination and Sarah's quick thinking to secure the artifact. Artifact 4, the Air Feather. In the attic, a bone-chilling wind howled as they sought the final artifact, the Air Feather. As they reached for it, a whirlwind of spirits engulfed them, pulling them into a vortex of lost souls. Only by working together did they escape with the artifact in hand. Returning to the ritual chamber, they placed the elemental artifacts around the mirror. The spirits' voices grew more frantic as they watched the Wilsons complete the ritual. The mirror trembled, and the room filled with an otherworldly light. Isabella Holloway's spectral form appeared before them, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You have released us from our torment. Thank you." As the spirits dissipated, the Wilsons felt an overwhelming sense of relief. The chilling whispers that had plagued them since their arrival ceased, and the mansion seemed to sigh with relief. Their journey had come to an end, and Hollow House was no longer haunted by malevolent spirits. It had been transformed into a place of peace and quiet, welcoming the Wilsons as its new, rightful occupants. But as the family settled into their newfound tranquility, they couldn't help but wonder if some secrets of Hollow House were better left undisturbed, and if the spirits truly had found the peace they sought. With the malevolent spirits finally at rest, the Wilsons enjoyed a period of tranquility within Hollow House. The eerie whispers and paranormal disturbances that had plagued them ceased, and a sense of normalcy gradually settled over their new home. They worked tirelessly to restore the mansion, uncovering hidden rooms, forgotten treasures, and old family heirlooms that told tales of Hollow House's rich history. Life seemed to return to normal, and they cherished their newfound peace. Yet, there was an unease that lingered, a feeling that not all was as it seemed. Sarah often found herself gazing at the antique mirror in the main hall, wondering if Isabella Holloway's spirit had truly found peace or if something remained unresolved. Emily and Ethan, while grateful for their loving family, couldn't shake the memories of their encounters with the supernatural. They had grown older and wiser, but the shadows of the past still haunted their dreams. One evening, as a storm raged outside, the family gathered by the fireplace, seeking warmth and comfort. The room was filled with the soft crackling of the fire, and Sarah broke the silence. "Do you ever wonder if there's more to this house than we know?" John, deep in thought, replied, "I can't shake the feeling that we've only scratched the surface of its secrets." As if in response to their musings, the antique mirror suddenly began to ripple, much like it had during their first encounter with the spirits. The family watched in awe and trepidation as a familiar, ghostly figure materialized within the glass. It was Isabella Holloway, her ethereal form bathed in a soft, eerie light. She wore a melancholic expression as she reached out, her hand seemingly passing through the mirror's surface. "You have done a great service," Isabella whispered, her voice a faint echo. "But there is one more task that must be completed to truly free this house from its past." The Wilsons exchanged anxious glances, realizing that their journey was not over. Isabella's message hinted at an unfinished chapter in Hollow House's history, one that required their intervention.